Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to episode 72 of Talk4, the quickfire podcast, where we ask four great questions to unique and interesting people. Behind the mic today is your host, Louis Scoopian. That's me. And let me introduce our special guest for today, big fan, Mike Wade, who's going to be answering some questions today. Mike, welcome aboard the Talk4 podcast, man. Please say hi to the fine people listening and just give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do before I shoot some questions.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the show. My name is Mike Wade. I'm an actor. You probably know me from a show called SEAL Team. Did another thing on Netflix called Jupiter's Legacy. And you probably see me in a few other things here and there. So thanks for coming and checking out the show.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. So, I mean, like I said, just before we went on the podcast, I've been a huge fan of SEAL Team really since early doors. And obviously you came in some of the later seasons and you're doing great work there. Now you've really found your pace of the role. And I just can't wait to ask a few questions. So if you're good to go, do you want to jump on to question one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right then. So I always like to kind of wind back the clocks a bit to start it off then. So how did you get into acting then? What or who was the inspiration behind it? And just take us through a little actor's memory lane.
Man, yeah, that is taking me back. So acting, it's always been something I've been interested in. It didn't really seem like a possibility. I didn't know anybody who was an actor. It just seemed like this far out thing. So uh, I found myself in college. I'm studying psychology, senior year, and a buddy says to take me to acting classes, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to be around these weirdos. Actors are definitely different. But what I came to find out was that it's just actors. We express ourselves, and I'm a better person for it. But I took those classes, ended up loving it, and it's my way of making that contribution to society, and just telling powerful stories that are going to move us in the right direction, and that's why I do it.
Hell yeah. And you've done a really good job of it too. And yeah, like you mentioned, I think a lot of people will recognize you from SEAL Team. So let's dig into that then. So talk SEAL Team, how did you come to get that role then? Obviously it's a big role. It's a big series.
Yeah.
I go on Sky and stuff. I'm at my friend's house. We go on Sky, flick it on, and there's SEAL Team at the very top on the promotion bar. And I'm like, oh my God, I podcasted with that guy. So big series, obviously. So just tell us, how did you come to get the role and how difficult was it to integrate into the series and the character?
Man, that's a great question. I actually love telling this story to everybody, but especially to other actors. So I still consider myself a new guy when it comes to acting. I've been doing it for quite a few years, but I mean, it's a business that takes a while before you really get going. That's what a lot of people who aren't actors and maybe some newer actors don't know. You might think that, oh, I'm just going to take some classes and hop into this. That's not the way this business works, man.
Mm.
So what I like telling people about SEAL Team is before I got this role, I had auditioned for the show, I don't know how many times over the years. And I was excited every time. Every time my agent sent me something, I could be about to go to the movies with my girlfriend or something. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm sorry, baby, but we got to say it tonight because I got like these pages to learn. They even give you a glossary at the front of it
Right.
for all the military jargon and stuff that you need to be able to say either that next day or the day after, as if you're actually in the military.
Mm.
So I would always give it 100%. Obviously, I didn't get any of those roles, but I kept a good attitude. Always stayed excited about coming into the room, before COVID, and then this role came along, and I felt good about this, maybe a little bit better. And this is during COVID, so I sent the tape in, but this is to a casting director that had seen me in the room a few times.
Yeah.
So yeah, next thing I know, my agent's calling me, saying, "Hey, kid, you got it." So that was obviously a very happy day for me. And as far as this role, yeah, it's a pretty big role because this is Bravo's new officer in charge. So it took quite a bit of research. You mentioned Neil Brown Jr., great guy. When he found out that I was going to be on the show, he reached out to me and just connected me to a whole bunch of people. And just, I mean, on a show that's filled with people who are helpful, in the casting crew. I got to say, Neil, he's very close to being that top person. He's super helpful, man.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, you've done a great job with that role there, haven't you? Kind of fitting in there and stuff. But all right, just tell me quickly then. So obviously you said you've been kind of gunning for that role or some role in the series for quite a while. What was that reaction like when you first found out? Was there celebrations? What did you do? I can imagine you were just over the moon. So tell us about that.
Yeah, man. Well, so I've been specifically wanting to be on this show, So I think I was driving when my agent called me, and typically whenever because I have a whole team, so whenever there's a few of them on the phone, I'm like, oh, well, something good is up. Yeah. And so when they told me I got it, man, I had to pull over and just kind of chill out for a second because I was really, really excited to be on the show. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And so just tell us about like the kind of the feedback side of things then. So when you joined the show, have you had kind of feedback from service members and veterans on your portrayal of the character and stuff? And how has it been?
Yeah, you know what, man? That's another thing too. A big reason why I'm an actor is I want anybody who's experienced what I'm playing on screen or anything like it. I want them to get something positive from it. So I have a lot of appreciation for our military, and I've gotten a few guys who said, "Hey, man, I really appreciate your portrayal on the show," and that just means the world to me because I appreciate what they do for us, for keeping us safe. But yeah, I mean, I had a friend who I worked with on a different show. Her uncle is in the Canadian military, and so she forwarded me a message from him saying, "Hey, really appreciate what you're doing on the show." And I was like, "Wow, this is amazing, man." So over the moon, to say the least.
I can imagine, yeah. So just a bit more about that then. So out of interest, obviously, everyone knows about the military and stuff, but has your sort of perception of the military and the armed forces changed as you've kind of been in this role and sort of seen the workings, the kits and the way things work? Has it sort of changed your perspective on the military at all?
Well, yeah. So like I said, I've always appreciated what they do. I've always seen these men and women as heroes. I would say that, yeah, the sacrifice that they make and what they go through when they've come back, now they're veterans, to make it into the program, how tough they have to be, how dedicated they have to be. But another thing I want to mention is their families, what their families sacrifice. I was actually in an acting class. What are we in May now? In March, and one of the other performers, she pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, I see that you're on the show SEAL Team. My son, I think she said he just made it through BUDS or something. He's on the way to being an operator, and
wow,
he has a little bit of a hard time watching the show because her son really lives it, but she appreciates what we do on the show to just make this as real to life as possible."
Absolutely. And I think one of the things I've really learned to appreciate about SEAL Team is that obviously the show's evolved a hell of a lot over the years, but they're never scared to kind of, how do you word it? They're never scared to kind of show the reality of things, and they never sugarcoat it. They're talking about the issues. They're talking about the things that happen after it, during it, and also like they've been touching on the sort of the ways out of that and the ways to sort of fix that too. So I have a feeling, and not a feeling, I know from speaking to Tyler as well, that a lot of people have probably gotten a hell of a lot of hope and ideas and methods for fixing things from the show. So I mean, it's big work that's been done there. Absolutely. So yeah, you did a great job of integrating and finding your flow in the series, and with the character, despite Soto taking a pretty strong stance with the guys, I bet you loved that. I'm just curious then. So how tough was it, and what was it like finding your footing, getting on the right side of the fan base, especially when replacing a pretty popular character?
Yeah, well, man, it's funny because I would say for the most part in real life, people like me. People, now as far as Lieutenant Soto, not so much. Yeah. Might be a bit much to take, but I can see, the method to the madness, so to speak. So, I mean, it's a serious job. These guys live. You have the team leader, you have Bravo 1, but Soto is the officer in charge. He's a young guy. You got to be serious to make sure that you know, this is your team, you know, and I don't want to lose anybody. I want anybody to get hurt. I want us to be, to do this mission successfully, and everybody get back home to their families. So that's why I'm able to tap into that type of person that maybe not everybody's going to like, even though in real life, probably most people like me. But yeah, it's just, he's got a very serious job. He takes it very seriously. The way I see Lieutenant Soto, he's very proud to serve his country, very proud to, and protect people around the world.
Absolutely. I can see that too. But yeah, it's always funny when you see kind of like a guy like that clashing with the stubborn old dog. That's Bravo One. It's definitely good entertainment, good TV to see it all and stuff. But so I kind of like to imagine this and ask this to some of the actors I've had on in the past then. So how much of Mike is in Soto and how much of Soto is in Mike? Is there any bits and bobs that you think, okay, that's a little bit close to home?
Oh man, okay. Well, yeah. So what I would say, the parts of Soto that are in me, if I were to really do that job, I'd probably be that serious because I would take it that serious. The part that's hard for me to do is, and I, honestly, maybe it is the same because I don't think Soto would let on how much he likes the guys, But I mean, some of those guys are really funny, man. Some of those earlier episodes, I'm stopping them from joking around. In my head, I'm like, well, that's actually kind of funny. But I have to make sure that, they stay focused because we're about to go try to stop some bad guys here. But yeah, just I would like to think that in my line of work with acting, the dedication, the teamwork, it's not about meanness. I hope that I bring a fraction of that to the table because, for the SEALs, that's what they teach them. It's about the team. It's not about you. There is no I. There's getting the mission done. There's making sure your brothers are safe around you. And, there's no I mentality. So I've really worked to bring more of that into my life, into my work, like I said, why I do what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the scenes I liked as well was when they're on the ship all cooped up and everything, and they're getting the fight club on, and everyone's going at it, and Soto is just like grilling Jason, but deep down you can see he's just like, yeah, this is great stuff. But okay, so bit of trivia then for the fans. I mean, let's put it this way: I can suffer from the giggles, and my mum gave that to me. Unfortunately, it's a tough thing to deal with in serious situations. But were there any scenes that got published where you had to be dead set serious, where actually you were kind of inside just like, okay, I'm struggling a bit? It's funny.
You know what I'm struggling right now trying to answer one particular time because I'm trying to be specific and think of a time, but there's been several times.
Okay.
AJ Buckley is really funny, really talented guy, really funny guy. Like just serious, like even the camera's not rolling. Neil is hilarious. Actually, DB, Mr. Boreanaz, David Boreanaz, he's a funny guy too, man. Everybody just is really just a family, man. So I'm trying to think of one specific time where something funny happened, where I had to it, especially for my. But it's happened a bunch of times. There's a lot of laughter on the set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot. Actually, I mean, Max and AJ will be playing pranks on each other all the time.
Really? So that went beyond just the stuff you see on screen then. So they were actually like that.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, one time we were on the ship and I mean there's not even cameras around. And Max takes one of those bullhorns and wakes up AJ. So yeah, that type of thing is going on all the time, man. It's
That's hilarious. I just too good. Right, I'm not sure if you know the answer to this then, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I was going to try and get AJ on the podcast soon, but he's been very busy recently. But I just want to ask. So on the subject of that, he keeps coming out with these names for Clay or for Max, like these things like Blonde Godzilla, and he comes out with all these things like Obi Blonde Kenobi. I've got to know, is he just coming up with these things on the spot, or is this writing? Like, you got to tell me.
So there, as far as the names, I'm going to have to say he's got to throw a couple in there because matter of fact, yeah. I mean, you just reminded me of your last question. This answers both. There was a scene where I was introducing two guys from a different team. Actually, I think maybe from the British military or something.
Yeah.
And we're on a joint op, and I'm bringing these guys over there.
Was that the airport?
Was it? No. It was. I think we were on the C-17.
Okay. I think I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to introduce them because they're going to be doing this op together. AJ says his line. I remember from the script what his line is, but then he throws in something else, and I had to hightail it out of there because I was about to bust up, man. This guy's he's just whenever he can, he throws in stuff to just like enrich things, and yeah, like I said, he's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it's a great chemistry, and I think that's one of the nice things about it too. It's like you can try your hardest to kind of put people together and everything in series and films and everything, but you never quite get the same feeling you do until people like really click with each other, especially off the cameras too, and then you can feel that in the thing. I think SEAL Team's so good at like the whole team feeling thing, and it's just they've done great there, haven't they?
Yeah, because you need this brotherhood. You need a group of guys who look like they've been around each other for months at a time, training, doing some of the hardest things they've ever done in their life. Yeah. Trusting their life with somebody else. And, a lot of the people on the show are, actually friends or become friends. That really reads on screen. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Actually, this just reminded me of something. I mean, I remember having like literally one of the biggest laughs I've ever had at this series. I can't remember if you were part of, actually, maybe you weren't joined up then because I think it was Blackburn scene, but yeah, they had this snake infused sort of drink after some training operation. Then the new admiral or something came up to review them, and then they were trying to pull straight faces, and AJ throws up on the side. It was so funny. No, I love the spirit of SEAL Team. It's so good. But like you said earlier, I mean, they don't shy away from kind of like the diversity of the whole thing with, showing the bad sides of it and then the good sides of it. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a great series all around. But I'll tell you what, so fourth question then, let's give something to the fans that there's going to be a lot of fanboys out there who want to hear all this kind of stuff. But tell me about the training aspect for the role then. So what were your focuses in terms of physique and stuff then? And what were you looking for when going for the SEAL Team look?
Oh man, yeah, that's a good question. So I did do some firearm training. They had, actual like the stunt guys, but a couple of them are actually former SEALs who really did the job. So they took me out and showed me, proper way to use things. As far as the gym, I'm somebody who's always liked to work out. But yeah, once I, saw who I was going to be working with, I definitely packed on a few pounds, man. Initially, I was looking a little light especially compared to Max, man. Guys, the camera adds a few pounds. I feel like it's the reverse with him. Like, he's I feel like he's larger in real life than he is on screen.
That's hard to imagine.
I remember we were we were wrapped for the day, and I go to give this guy like a bro hug, and I bounce off the guy's chest. I'm like, what are you eating, bro? But yeah, man, I would just do lift heavier, eat more, and also do some running too. Yeah. Because those guys, it's not just about them being big. They have to be able to have the endurance to make it to where they're going to go. That was all part of it. And, something that I enjoy doing anyway.
Absolutely. It reminds me of Tyler because we spoke about this on our podcast and he was like, oh yeah, between seasons, Max just literally exploded in muscle. And he's like, he looks at weights and he just puts on pounds of muscle. I mean, it's hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember you talking. I listened to you talk with Tyler and I remember, mixing in with, hey, some of this stuff looks cool, but also just the gravity and the weight of what's actually going on. Because you've seen from the show, every once in a while, you do lose a teammate. And for the people who really live this, they know that all too well. So we wanted to show, the guys having fun, the guys bonding. But yeah, every once in a while you do lose a brother, and we want to honor that, on the show.
Absolutely. Yes, it's so true. And yeah, so talking about the training a little bit more then. So what were you kind of like focused in terms of like muscle groups and stuff? Did that change when you're kind of going for the Navy SEAL role? Because I think I read before, I think maybe it was AJ about his training routines and stuff. And he said that he kind of targeted more like the sort of shoulders and stuff before going into the role. So I'm just interested, did you have kind of very specific ideas for
Yeah,
the way you wanted to look for that role when you were training up for it?
yeah, definitely focus on shoulders, arms, and a big thing is because you're carrying a rifle. You want to make sure that you can do that for whatever
Yeah.
amount of time. So now, granted, yeah, we're actors. We're nowhere near doing what the actual guys do, but you want to have some form of endurance of carrying this thing around. If you're not shooting it, you have it slung around you. So, and we don't carry the same amount of gear as real
Mm.
guys. Obviously, we don't have like real plates in there, but you're still carrying that stuff around all day, and shoulders, arms, and doing some running, man. Because you still need to be able to move.
So true. And I have to say, it makes me remind myself of like what I tend to do in the summer. I used to usually go airsofting. It's a lot like kind of paintball. And you
Yeah.
obviously these guns are actually, it's a good question. Oh, I've got another question. Oh, damn it. I've got too many questions for you, dude. What I was going to say was even doing that with kind of like replica guns and plastic guns and stuff like this, even doing that for a whole day. I mean, your shoulders, your lower back, your neck,
Yeah.
arms, it's
Yeah.
brutal. And you're not even wearing those kind of packs and everything during that when you're doing that. I mean, it must be brutal to do that kind of a thing, hey?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, especially it can get pretty hot too.
Mm.
When you've got all the gear on. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
looks cool. Yeah, it can get pretty hot. And yeah, you actually, I'm glad you mentioned that about your back, your lower back.
Mm.
Some of the guys who really did the job, they have back problems because you're carrying around all this gear. It's everything's needed, but it's heavy, and it gets heavy as you get tired. So
100%.
yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, we're on the subject of it now, then. Obviously, that's one of the tough things about it. It's actually very taxing on the bodies. But when it comes to playing these military characters and Navy SEALs and stuff, what have been like some of the most challenging things for you to get right and accurately portray like a military service member?
Oh man, that's a good question. Well, the stuff that's challenging, I like. It's fun. I obviously don't have any military service or experience, but the people on set, a lot of the people on set do. So they would help me out and adjust me, whenever I needed, or if I had a question, they were more than willing to help me out. Tyler included.
Yeah.
I remember one day he said, "Hey man, if whenever you have like a day when you have maybe a few less lines," he wanted to make sure he didn't interrupt me focusing on the scene,
Sure.
but he kind of walked me through some things that would be helpful. Tons of guys have done that. Full Metal, he helped me out a few times. When there was a scene when it was actually a scene, or actually, excuse me, episode that Max directed when we were in Africa. And there's some guys chasing us, and we kind of pull off to the side, and we all just get out and unload on them. So Full Metal helped me. What you want to do is adjust a little bit, so in case your guy steps out, you don't actually hit one of your guys.
Yeah.
He's helped me with when you're down in the prone position, you want to make sure that your feet are as close to the ground as possible.
Mm.
And every time that they told me something, it immediately made sense. And it's pretty much so you don't get shot. This is the type of thing that you would do if you're really there, to not get hurt or not to hurt one of your guys. But yeah, tons of little things that they helped me out with along the way.
That's brilliant, man. So kind of wrapping it up almost now slightly. So if we go into kind of like the future of things and what's coming up then, so what's kind of the vision, or what do you think is the future for the role of Soto in SEAL team going into the future, and also your position as well in the team? Are you going to be looking to kind of do some of the directing work in future, do you think? And what's sort of like your role how's your role going to evolve basically, do you think there?
That is a great question. I'll start with the directing. I don't have any intention to direct.
Okay.
Not for this show. Or, I don't know. Maybe later in life. As far as Soto, Soto was shipped to, I believe, a different team in this most recent season. So working with a different team, will you see him again? You know, it's quite possible. He's still alive. So, but as far as the show, my main thing to bring up is anybody who's seen the last episode of the last season. Hopefully, I'm not spoiling anything. But all the guys step up, and they mention that they have post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, I saw that scene. Yeah.
Yes, that's a very serious thing, and what I'm thinking is I'm not sure what's going to happen next with the guys, because that's a pretty serious thing. They're basically saying it's in question. Are they fit to operate at this moment? So, I know that's really what Soto was brought there for. That's what Soto's aim was, is to help them to be able to do their job as efficiently for as long as possible.
Yeah.
So the things that Soto tried to implement, I know it's kind of like pulling teeth with some of the guys, but that's really what his goal was. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens next with the guys. I know we want to see more of the guys, on missions, but I think there's going to have to be some work done, before they can do that.
Absolutely, yeah, and I like the way they kind of touch on it a lot in the series too, like with Jason and stuff. I mean, our bodies are essentially kind of ticking time bombs in a sense, especially in high impact sports and things like that. So it's interesting to see where that kind of cutoff will be. I think potentially the show could take a turn towards kind of showing like the after military stuff too, and perhaps like more of the sort of the healing process towards things. And maybe that would leave a bit of leeway to start following some characters in maybe another team or something as well. Do you think that might be a direction it could go in?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could, man. Because that's the thing that like I said, I love about the show. A lot of the things that people, and the action scenes are cool. I mean, it's cool as hell. Yeah. I mean, Jimmy, the cameraman is amazing. Everybody is amazing on the show. But no, if you look at Jason, as dedicated as he is to the job, he's got TBI. He's forgetting things. Some of the guys have been put in danger. That is a reality that needs to be faced. He's lost, I don't know if they said maybe 40 friends.
Yeah, he's got the
those things got to be addressed. Yeah, exactly. So those things have to be addressed, or at some point it's just going to all fall apart. And with him being the team leader, we can't have that. So yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what they do next, because I know that's the goal, is to make this authentic. The producers are former SEALs. These are guys who did the job, so they want to bring that reality so that they can help their brothers and their families.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And yes, it is a big honor thing as well. I mean, it is entertainment, but it carries a lot of responsibility too, especially to the memories of the fallen people and to their families, and the list goes on and stuff. So it's important work for sure. And last thing to ask you as well is just, so obviously you've got the kind of, I don't know if you've I'm sure you do. I mean, you must have loved this job. I mean, it looks so fun, although I'm sure a lot of hard work. What kind of roles and projects are you kind of interested in pursuing in the future? Obviously, you've got the military stuff behind you now, or you still got it here. Are you looking to do more of that kind of thing, or would you like to branch out a bit too in future roles?
Absolutely, man. SEAL team, like I said, it was a specific goal of mine to work on the show. I'm thrilled that I've been able to do it. I want to do that as long as I can. I want to do more military stuff. I would, one of my next things that I would like to do actually is to play a cop or a detective. Maybe more specifically a cop.
That's a nice progression.
I have a couple opportunities for that I can't speak on yet because it's so early. One I'm working on putting together with some guys that I know. Another is something that was mentioned to me, but like I said, both are really early on, so I can't give any details on it. but and it would be a law enforcement role in both of those things. But yeah, that's what I would love to do next, is to play a cop.
That's awesome. It makes sense as well, because that's like a really good progression from kind of like the military aspect side of things. So you have the experience in that sort of like the combat scene, but it also allows you to branch out to different roles. So that's fantastic, and I can't wait to see that sort of stuff. But yeah, that has been our 4 questions done for today. And before we wrap it up, it is time for what I like to call the shameless plug. So Mike, just send my people where they can find your stuff, website, social media, everything. And we're going to be looking forward to seeing these new roles of yours. Where can we be updated for this stuff?
Yeah. All right. So you guys can check me out on all social media at Mike Wade Actor. You can go to my website, mikewade.com. It'll give you a link to everything you want to see, previous work, social media, literally everything. And as far as getting updates, yeah, man, just check that website, check out my socials, and I'll be posting things whenever I can to let you guys know what's coming up next.
Awesome stuff. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today for the Talk4 podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on. And if you don't mind, what would Lieutenant Soto think of the Talk4 podcast?
He would say it's great, man. He would say it's nice and focused. It's straight to the point. And yeah, Soto's a trim the fat off type of guy. And that's what this is, man. So
I love
2 thumbs up.
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, thanks for joining me, dude. Absolute pleasure to have had you on today.
Thank you for having me, man.
Awesome. And thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 72. And if you'd like to listen to the past episodes, go and have a look at our channel. And if you'd like to listen in for the future ones, make sure to hit that subscribe button and spread some love by leaving a like and a comment. Signing off for now.